Hey fellow gliders, welcome back. This is episode 5 of Gamify, your glide app. Up until now, we've been awarding our players XP and gold, but we haven't been able to allow our users to spend their gold at all. So today what we're going to do is create an item store where our players can dive in, use their in-app currency to purchase in-app items, and then store them in an inventory. From there, they can manage their inventory by dropping their items, using their items, selling back their items, and so forth. Some of the concepts we talk about today will be a little tricky, but we'll walk you through it, so make sure you pay attention. Ready, here we go. Gamify your glide app. So whenever I'm creating a new feature for an app, I like to think of it backwards. Ultimately, what we want is an inventory tab that has a list of all of the items that we've purchased. So we need to have a relation from our user to the purchase list. That means we need to have a spreadsheet that's going to house all of the lines of items that were purchased by users. And that will get populated from a store. So we need to have a list of items in a store. So I'm going to create two new sheets in my app called Store or Shop and then Inventory. So here I have a store and here I have inventory. I've already pre-populated it with a little bit of information here. So in my store sheet, I have some items, images that I found on Unsplash, and a category for those items. I have how much those items cost in gold. You can feel free to put in a description for these items as well. Then we have whether or not this item is unique. So that means, can the user purchase more than one of these items? So let's go ahead and insert a checkbox there. And then, yes, let's make our minor healing potion unique. Maybe our healing potions can only have one at a time, something like that. Okay, then are we going to enable any class restrictions? Meaning, if I'm a priest, can I purchase items that are meant for a warrior, right? So like a shield and a sword, maybe those are meant for warriors only. So I'm going to go ahead and type warrior into those items there. And basically, we're going to filter those items out in our store. Okay, then we have the minimum rank needed. Maybe you're limiting your amount of items that can be purchased based on what rank you are. So maybe a shield and a sword, you have to be bronze in order to purchase that item. Oops, it spelled that right. Right, and then maybe your major healing potion need to be silver, and maybe the other ones don't have a restriction. Then you can introduce the concept of boosts, right? So if they purchase one of these items, does it give you stat boosts? I have health boost, spell, attack, and armor boosts. We haven't yet introduced the concept of health in our app, but it's nice to have this in here now. So in case we do want to introduce that, we have that placeholder. So for example, minor and major healing, maybe those offer 10 health and then 25 health additional bonus. For these materials, maybe nothing. And then shield and sword, maybe shield will offer an armor boost of 10, and then sword will be an attack boost of 10. You can set the concept of availability. So maybe there's only a certain amount of items available. So minor and major, maybe there's 100 of those each, right? Maybe of these materials, we have 200 of those each. And maybe of our weapons, we only have 20 of those each. Okay, and then also the concept of, can you sell this item back? Maybe you're going to allow your users to be able to sell back an item if they no longer need it. So I'm going to again insert checkboxes, and let's make it so they can sell back their weapons and armor. Something like this. Okay, you see row ID is in here. This is because I already created the row ID column in the Glide app. I'll show you where to find that. Okay, and this is pretty much it for our store. Now for our inventory, we only need a few items here. Basically just the columns that are going to keep track of which item and which user. So here I have the user email. I have the item ID. This is going to point to that row ID. It's always good to point to a unique value just in case you want to change the name of that item later. It's not going to break any relations. Okay, I have cost. I really might not need this one at all because I can probably just do a lookup of the cost. But timestamp when they purchased it in case you want to do something with that, maybe like daily items. And then again, a row ID for those items. Perfect. So let's go back to our app and give it a refresh. And we should see now that I have a store and an inventory And these are the columns that I placed in there. You're going to go ahead and format these columns if you created them from the spreadsheet. For example, your unique should be a Boolean, so you just come over here to edit Boolean, right? Your image should be an image type column and so forth. I formatted these number columns already to include the emoji in there. And again, you see all of these should be number columns and not text columns. So just go make sure you go through your two sheets, your store and your inventory sheets, and format those columns to the type of column that they are. All right, once we have this information in, then we can start creating our screens. So I'm going to come back over here to our app, and let's create our store screen first. So I'm going to add a new tab. Let's call it Store. I'm going to make it a details view of the store sheet. That way I can customize the layout of the screen. The tab icon, let's find something to do with money. That works well. And I'm going to trash all these components. All right, maybe at the top of the store, we want to see our current gold. That way we're not bouncing between the My Profile and the store. So I'm going to add in a basic table at the top. And for these left and right categories, I'm going to match what's up here, which is our progress and the amount of gold that we have. So up here, I'm going to reference our user rank progress display. And over here will be our user gold, just like so. Okay, next will be our items themselves. This is going to be an inline list. And the inline list will be of our inventory. Sorry, not inventory, our store. And let's make this a card view. It doesn't need a title. And let's make it too wide so we can fit more than one item on the page. Image shape will be square. The image will be the item image, obviously. Maybe not square. Let's maybe do a 3:2. That's fine. And we can go to options and group by category. That'd be nice. So our store is automatically organized by category. All right, from here, the header could be whether or not it's unique. Let's do a unique display, right? So we don't just want a true or false. We want to actually show if it's unique or not. So let's call this if unique. And this will be an if then else. And we'll say if unique is true, then let's give it an emoji too, like a diamond. Yeah. Okay, then unique, else nothing. So now our potions are unique. Let's drag this over so that way it is next to our unique column. All right, back to edit this. Header, unique. Description. Nah, let's do nothing. So details, let's make this the item name. That way if it's longer, it'll carry over to a second line. Okay, that's looking fine. All right, maybe we want to display on here the rank needed in order to purchase this item. All right, so to do that, we're going to tap into this minimum rank needed, right? So in order to determine if we have this rank, we're going to go by the XP needed in order to achieve it, right? Because if I've earned gold, that means I have enough for bronze and silver. So that means I have enough XP to satisfy both those conditions. So we have to go by XP. So let's go make a relation between the min rank needed and the XP. So let's say rel to rank, where we're going to relate the min rank needed to the rank's rank, like so. Drag that over. And let's get the minimum XP needed. This will be a lookup of our rank points minimum. Done. And then we need to compare that to our current XP. So let's call this can purchase, and then put in parentheses rank. And so this will be an if then else. So we're going to say if the minimum XP needed is empty, then true, because that means that there's no rank requirement. Else, no, add a case. If the minimum XP needed is less than or equal to our current XP, the user XP, then true. Okay, else false. There we go. All right, so this is false because I'm not yet the silver rank, but I am a bronze rank, so these are true. That works nicely. All right. Then we need to determine if we can purchase it based on the cost. So we need to grab the current user's gold. A couple of ways to do that. We could just use a math column and bring that in, but we need to have a relation to the user anyway. So let's create that relation to user, which means we need to have the current user as one of our fields. So we're going to start off with current user. This will be a template column. Triple dots, user, email, like so. And we don't need a replacement. Done. Then we're going to relate to user. So rel user. So we're going to relate the current user to our user's email and not match multiple because there's only one of us. And then we're going to grab the current user gold. And this is a lookup of the user gold, like so. Okay, then we need to determine, hey, can we purchase this? Which is basically going to be this minus this. We have to determine that anyway, so let's create that math column, and we'll say balance after purchase. This will be a math column. And we're going to do the total gold, or the current user gold, minus the cost. All right, so that's our balance afterwards. And so if it's negative, then we know that we can't purchase it. So we're going to do an if then else. We'll call this can purchase, and then in parentheses, balance. And we're going to do an if then else. We're going to say if the balance after purchase is less than 0, then false, else true. Okay. Okay, that works. Now, what if there's not enough available, right? So we need to relate our row ID here to the inventory item ID. So let's do a relation to inventory. So we're going to relate our row ID to the inventory item ID. There's nothing in there yet. We're going to match multiple because more than one person is going to purchase an item, right? We hit done. Okay, then we need to do a roll-up of how many items were purchased. So we're going to do a roll-up. We're going to call this inventory count purchased. So it's going to be a roll-up of our rel inventory to grab the row ID. And right now it's 0 because no one's purchased anything yet. And let's call it can purchase. We don't really need this to be in the sheet, but it's nice because we're creating it anyway. All right, so can purchase quantity. Be an if then else. We'll say if our inventory count purchased is greater than or equal to the quantity. Where is it? Total available. Okay, then false, else true. So all of them can be purchased right now because no one's purchased anything yet. All right, and then we'll have one more condition afterwards based upon whether or not the item is unique and that we owned it, but we'll create that after the fact just so you can see that logic. All right, so now we have to create the details view here. Oh, but you know what? First we want to bring in some rank information, right? So let's come over here and bring in some rank. So let's do rank image. This will be a lookup of the rel rank image. And then the rank name. Oh, we already have the rank name. Okay, so let's bring the rank image over to where the rel rank is. Like that. Okay, so now down over here under the avatar, we can make that the rank image. And then the avatar text can be the rank needed, like so. Okay, and then for the tag, we can make that the cost. We should display the cost on there, obviously. All right, that's looking good. Oh, and we don't want the true. We don't want if unique. We want unique display. If unique. There we go. All right. So that looks great. Look at that. Okay, now I'm a priest, so I shouldn't be able to see the armor or the weaponry. So we need to filter this list by our class. All right, so to do that, we need to determine, hey, if it's one of these classes, then I shouldn't see it. But if it's one of these classes, then I should. So we can just do a relation from our user rank to like an if then else that's looking at this class column. So let's call this if class and be an if then else. And we're going to say if the class is empty, that means that there's no class requirement, and we'll just return our user class. Otherwise, we're going to spit back whatever the class requirement is, like this. Okay. So now we have this if class that we can filter our list by. Let's bring this over. Okay, so we just go to options, filter, and we're going to filter whether the if class is our user class. Let's give that a second to populate. And there we go. All right, so these are some items that I can purchase. Nice. All right, so I can buy a unique healing potion. I can't buy the major healing potion yet because that's silver. All right, let's go ahead and configure our details screen. And let's add in a title. We want the image. Title can be the item name. And then the details could be the cost, maybe. Something like this. You can choose what kind of layout you like. Kind of like the full screen. Okay, then we can have some details underneath. So we can have some action text that doesn't do anything for the description, which I don't have on there. We could have a basic table of all of the rest of the stats, right? Like the category, whether or not it's unique, the boosts. So our health boost, we want spell boost next, attack boost, and armor boost. And then maybe how many are remaining, right? Do we have that yet? We have inventory, but we don't have inventory remaining. So we have to subtract the total amount from that inventory count. So let's do remaining. And we're going to do a math where we're going to do the total available minus the count, precision 1, and we can give it the units of remaining. And we can just throw that as the footer of our basic table. Something like that. Feel free to play around with this and where you want that information to be. All right, from here, now we just need a button to purchase the item, right? A couple of ways to do this. I'm going to show you one neat, nifty little way here of doing a button that will then lead out to are you sure button, right? So here we have a button. This is called purchase item. And what we want to do is set this to be a visibility condition to the button bar. So here we have a purchase item. And when I push this button, I want to turn this into a button bar that says, are you sure, cancel, or yes, purchase. And so that button bar will look like this, where the left hand will be cancel, and the right hand side will be purchase. And it's given some icons. like so. All right, so we're going to toggle between a true and false state here of the purchase item and cancel. So to do that, we need to create a user-specific column in our store. We'll call this "Are you sure?" It's going to be a basic column Boolean, and it'll be user-specific. Okay. And so then this purchase item, what's going to do, it's going to set column "Are you sure?" to true. So when they push purchase item, it marks "Are you sure?" to true. And this purchase item button, it will only appear when "Are you sure?" is not true. Is not true. So I push the button, it goes away. And then if I hit cancel, right, I want that cancel to bring it back. So this will be a set column of our left action here. So set column, this item, "Are you sure?" We'll just clear the value. So now we have a toggle, right? Cancel purchase, which is basically just marking true or empty, true or empty. And then on purchase, here's where we want to do the action of actually adding it to our inventory. So the right-hand action is going to be a compound action. We're going to do a few things here. First thing, let's have a show notification that it was purchased. Item purchased. Let's have some auditory feedback of some sound. Maybe like the alert is fine. Okay, then we want to go back a screen. Okay, then we're going to have some set columns kind of happening in the background. So the first one, let's mark the "Are you sure?" to clear again. So that way, if we visit this item and next time, that menu is kind of reset. Okay, then we need to reduce our gold, right? And luckily, we already have that relation to user to grab our gold balance. And we've already calculated the new gold balance. So we can do a set column of our relation to user. And our gold will now be the gold after purchase. Was it balance after purchase? Yes, this one, the balance after purchase. So this will basically replace our current gold with the balance after purchase gold. Okay, and finally, we need to add a row. So we're going to add a row to inventory with this information. So the user email, the item ID, which is the row ID, and the timestamp. Okay, now we only want this to happen when there are certain parameters, right? So we need to create a condition here. First, this can purchase quantity, right, needs to be true, so is true. Okay, and where the can purchase rank is true, and where can purchase balance is true. So we have to have enough gold, we have to have enough rank, and there has to be enough of the item available. Okay. Now, that means that there's going to be 3 conditions then where it won't match up, right? Where there's not enough rank, not enough gold, or not enough left. So we should probably first determine if there's enough at all, right? So if the can purchase quantity is not true, okay, then we'll do a few things. If the can purchase rank is not true, then we'll do some things. And then if the can purchase balance is not true, then we'll do some things. And really all 3 of these things will be the same thing, just different verbiage, right? Basically, we should probably restore, we'll do a set column on here to reset our menu. Then we should have a notification to say why. And then we should have some auditory feedback, some play sound. Okay, and really the set column should be last because the set columns take a split second, and so it sounds like a delay otherwise. All right, notification. This one's going to be failure. And that message should be no items remaining. Check back soon. Okay, then that sound could be like a hint text. Let's make all these hint sounds. Okay, for not enough rank, failure, and then balance would be not enough gold. Failure. All right, this will be a purchase button. Save. All right, so this costs 5 gold. I have 8 gold. So what it should do is it should give me that notice that it was purchased, should deduct the gold, and add a line to the to the inventory sheet, and then it should reset this menu and then go back. So I'm going to click purchase, item purchased. I'm now at 3 gold. My menu should be reset. Oh, and it was, but I didn't have a visibility condition on here. This button bar should only appear when the "Are you sure" is true. Now you also see on here that there are 99 remaining because it did that math for the quantity. Now speaking of quantity, what you also might want to do is limit how many items a user can have at one time. Call this like inventory slots. So to do that, you need to do a relation between the user profile and their log, right? So I'm gonna come back over here to the data editor and go to the user sheet, go all the way to the end and add a new column, and we'll call this relation to inventory. We have to do this anyway. So we're gonna do a relation. It's gonna be a multiple relation because each person's gonna have more than one item. We're gonna match our email address to the inventory user email, like so. Okay, then we just have to get a count. So we can do a inventory count. And this will be a roll-up of that relation we just created, and grab the row ID. And now we see that we have 1 item. And then we can display how many we have remaining. So pick a number, right? If you only want to give them 9 available items, then 9's your number, right? So we're gonna do remaining. We can even call this item slots remaining. And this will be a math column where we will subtract the number 9, right? It can be completely arbitrary. Minus the item count. What do we call this? Inventory? Yeah, inventory count. Okay, and then we can even give it the unit of slots remaining. Nice, like so. Which also means that we need to create an additional condition on our purchase button. So I'm going to come back over here to our purchase action and add in another condition here, where our user item slots remaining is greater than 0. So if user item slots remaining is less than or equal to 0, it should never be less than 0, but who knows, is less or equal to 0, then same deal. We'll show notification. We'll play a sound, and we'll set column to restore the menu. So that'll be a hint sound, and show notification will be a failure of not enough inventory, or your inventory is full. How about that? Your inventory is full. And the set column, again, are you sure? We're going to clear that value. Save. Okay. So now that we have some conditions on this button and we have an inventory, now we have to bring in some information into that inventory sheet. So let's go back to our data editor, inventory, and we're going to do a relation from the item ID to the item. So we're going to do a relation to item, be a relation column, we're going to match the item ID to the store row ID, like that. And there's only one, so we don't need to match multiple. And now just a bunch of lookup columns. So we're going to look up the item name. This will be a lookup. We'll do the item image. If we're planning on selling back the item, we should get the item cost, how much we paid for it, right? Oop, not the if unique. Well, we're gonna need that too, actually, but where's the cost? Oh, there it is. Okay, we should get the item category, so we can categorize our inventory. Oop, not if then else, be a lookup. Okay, and then whether or not it's unique. So item unique. Lookup unique, like so. Okay, maybe we want to do the same thing too. So if we're planning on using an item or dropping an item, we want to check, are you sure? So let's create an are you sure column. Again, a basic column Boolean, but it's going to be user specific. Okay, we have a row ID already. Okay, and then if they're selling it back, we need to do some sort of math here, right? So we need to have a relation to user. So relation, where the user email, go to the user's email. And then we should bring in the user math. Okay, so we'll do balance after sellback. And this is going to be the current user gold, G, where G stands for user gold. Plus, and then maybe we're not giving them the full amount back, maybe only half, right? So we'll do in parentheses the item cost divided by 2. But maybe we don't want to deal with decimals either. So maybe we'll round up that cost. So we'll do ceiling like that. So we're rounding it up. All right, this should be enough information to get started, and now all we have to do is display this in our app. A couple of places. We can either place it in the My Profile section here, or we can create a dedicated tab for your inventory. I'm going to go that route. So we're going to create a new tab here. We'll call it Inventory. And I'm going to just leverage the Users tab here, but I'm going to make it a Details view. And the tab icon, let's make it like a bag. My inventory. You can also do boxes if you want or something. Bag is fine. Maybe my inventory. Okay. And here we're going to display that relation to inventory, which we've already created. So it'll just be a inline list. Values will be that relation to inventory. We only have the one item at the moment. The title can be, let's see, the item remaining. Maybe we'll need that in a separate place. We want to see how many items we have left, right? So we'll need to add that as a text column, I guess, on top. Okay, or we can make it, we can just make it the title of the inline list, like that. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do from the get-go. All right, and then this information should be categorized. We can group it by the item category that we brought in from the lookup. And then from here, we can display it maybe in a tiles view, maybe 3 across, with tile-shaped square. The title can be the item name. Let's make it small text and allow wrapping, like that. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so if I purchase something else, let's see, how much gold I have left? 3. Let's cheat and give myself some gold. Let's give myself 20 gold. Let's buy some more things. So I'm going to buy some lumber, linen, leather. I can't buy this yet because I'm not silver. See that? Oh, this was, okay, there we go. But I can buy, let's maybe buy one more of these. Not enough gold. Fine. So back in my inventory, we see I have 3 slots remaining because that's the 9 minus the 6. We see things are nice and categorized, which is nice and pretty. Okay, and now we need to configure the details view of our inventory. So I'm going to dive into this first lumber. And from here, we'll just create some simple components like a title where we have our item name. Details can be the item category here. Right, and then maybe just a simple action as to what you want to do with this item. So if we want to have a button bar, we could maybe drop the item or use the item. We're not going to go into the logistics of using an item quite yet in this episode, but we'll stay tuned for our next episode where we actually use the items. The drop the item, we could do something like that. And then let's create some icons for those. Maybe dropping it would be like removing it. Then X. And then the use item could be like a zap or a bolt. Yeah, like that. And maybe we want to have the same sort of functionality, right? So if they click on drop item, what it does is it marks an "Are you sure" to true, and then shows a different button bar, right? So we want to show this button bar when the "Are you sure" is not true, which means that when they hit drop item, that'll be the set column where we mark "Are you sure" to true. And then we're going to have a second button bar, so I'm going to clone this one. And we're going to reconfigure this. So instead of drop item, on this one we'll call it cancel. We'll use that same icon as before. And then this right-hand button will be drop item and a confirming check mark. Like so. And this button bar will only show up when "Are you sure" is true. Like so. So now we can do a drop item, and then if you hit cancel, right, that'll mark "Are you sure" to be cleared. So now we can toggle between those items. Okay, so I can drop the item, and if I go to drop the item, then this will be a new action. And we need to do a couple of things. First, we will go back a screen. Then we will display a notification. We'll see item dropped. And then we need to delete the row. So we're going to do a delete row. Make sure it's this row or this item, not any of these, because if you do rel item or rel user, it's going to delete the item from the store, or it's going to delete your user profile. So we don't want either of those. Make sure it's just this item. And then maybe a sound as well, right? Some auditory feedback. Let's make it the sonar sound. We'll call this drop item. So it'll look like this. Item dropped, and then this item should go away. It's much more responsive in the published app rather than in the builder. You saw it was a bit of a delay there, but in the published app it should be almost instant. Okay, and then the last thing here is maybe we want to be able to sell back the item, but only if you're allowing to sell it back. So let's create another button here, and let's call this sell back for X amount of money. Oh, we don't have the sell back value, do we? We want the item cost divided by 2. We just need that as its own value. All right, so sell back value. And so that's math. That's just the item cost divided by 2. But we want that to be rounded up. And we're going to format it. That. And let's make it a display. So we'll say sell back value display. Yeah, template column, and we'll say sell back for X amount of money, where that money is the sell back value. right, we can make that the button text here. And then we need to do a compound action on this. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back a screen. We are going to play a notification sound. We are going to back a screen, show notification. Item sold. Item sold back successfully. Then we need to set column. So we need to add that money back to our account, right? So we're going to do a set column. We're going to do the relation to user, where the gold will be the gold after sellback. And then lastly, we need to delete the item from our inventory. So we're going to do a delete row, this item. We're going to call this sellback item. Save. All right, so if I sell back for $1, that means I should have then $2 in my balance, and then I should have 5 slots remaining. So let's try that out. 5 slots remaining, the item is gone, and $2 in my account. So that all works nicely. Okay, and then maybe we want to have a nice little link to the store here. So let's do a couple of buttons. We'll make them a floating action button, and we'll call this store. And this action will be a navigate tab store. We'll make it the same item as this, or same icon as the store, like that. So they click this button and they go to the store. And let's create a button here. So we'll create a button, and we're going to call this inventory. Again, same icon for your inventory tab, which is the bag. And we'll do a navigate tab inventory. Make it floating action button. So now they can toggle between the store and their inventory. The last thing we have to do is whether or not the item is unique, we shouldn't be able to purchase another one. So in my inventory, that button's nice, I already have a healing potion, which means I shouldn't be able to purchase another one. So this is a little bit of complex logic, but follow me here. So in the inventory, we're going to determine whether or not the item is unique, determine whether or not we have that item. So yes, we already have this item unique column here. And so we need to do an if then else that talks to this. So we're going to do an if then else. We're going to call it owned unique item, then the item ID. So first we're going to rule out any rows that aren't ours. So if the user email is not the signed in user, then leave it blank. So now any item or any row here that is not ours will be blank. Then if any of those rows are not a unique item, so if item unique is not true, then blank, else item ID. There we go. So now because we have this one unique item and we own it, it displays the item ID. If we switch to a different user, we see that it ends up being blank. So now lastly, what we have to do is in the store, we need to make a relation to that. So we're going to do a relation to user owned unique item. It'll be a relation from the row ID, which is the item ID, to the inventory owned unique item ID. And we'll need to match once. If there's any sort of match whatsoever, then we're not going to allow them to purchase it. Which also means, finally, we need one more purchase item condition here. So I'm going to go dive back into this purchase button action and set one more condition here, okay, and where that relation is empty, meaning that there's no match. So somewhere over here, we're going to do if there is a match. If it's not empty, then the same scenario. We're going to do a show notification. We're going to play a sound. And we're going to set columns. Okay, for the set column, again, we're just going to clear the are you sure. For the play sound, we're making it the hint. And the notification, be a failure notification, and we're going to display you already own this item. Save. So if I attempt to purchase this healing potion, which I already own, sorry, we already own this item. Very cool. All right, so we're almost done. The very last thing we have to do here is, do any of these have stat boosts? If so, we need to temporarily add them to our to our user boosts here. So, based on the inventory, we need to do a roll up of all of those boosts. So we're going to do inventory. I'm going to copy and paste this. Inventory boost, and then health. Like that. Okay, this is going to be a roll up of our inventory and then all of the health boost. Oh, we don't have that, do we? Oh, we have to bring those in. Gotta bring those in first. All right, I want to make sure I don't lose my copy paste, so I'll pick anything for now. All right, so in our inventory, we need to do 4 more lookups. We need to do health boost. So lookup of the item, health boost. And then we need to do armor boost. Lookup item, armor boost. Need a spell boost. The item spell boost, and then the attack boost. So we'll look up attack boost. All right, now we can do the roll-ups back in our users tab. So actually, we're not going to do health because we don't need a health boost here. We just need let's just do the 3. We'll start with spell. So again, it'll be a roll up of our inventory and then spell boost, and we need to do a sum. We're going to add all of those boosts together. Okay, then we need inventory boost armor, which is a roll up of the inventory armor boost sum, and lastly, inventory boost attack roll up of our attack boost sum. So now we have these 3 things. And if we come back over here to our boosts, right, we have our base attack, base armor, and base spell. So now we need to just do some math on those, right? So now we need to do total armor, which is the math of our base armor plus boost armor, like that. And then the unit should be the emoji that we were using. So let's see, we were using a sword, a shield, and then that swirl. Not that one. Magic, this one. All right, so our units here are the armor boost, like that. Then we need total boost, what we'll call it, total boost, total attack boost. Again, math, we're gonna do base attack plus inventory boost attack. Make sure that's the right one. Yeah, attack. Precision 1. And that's the sword icon. Let's make sure this was the right one here. It should be armor. Yeah, okay. And then lastly, the spell boost. Oops. So total spell boost. And we do a roll up, a math column of our base spell plus boost spell. Yep. 1 with the icon for the number, like so. All right, and so now we can display these things in our app if we'd like. We also have, we can do some template columns with these and display them later in our app. We'll cross that bridge when we get there and when we actually start leveraging those stats within our app. Whew, that was intense, but you did it. Nicely done. Today we allowed our users to spend their in-app currency on items in a store and then manage those items in their inventory. Those items also increase their stat boost. We can tap into that later in our gamified experience. Now, if you don't want to go through the legwork of creating this all yourself, you can always join my VIP program below. All you have to do is click join, and that will get you access to my VIP app, which includes this version of the gamification app, as well as all of the previous versions. So then that way you can go back and walk through it step by step. Regardless, thank you for your support. And as always, thank you for watching.